Hello, 8Es, receiving teachers and students. Hello. Thank you. May sit down. All right, 8Es and receiving students. In our topic for today's lesson, we're going to look at dividing fractions. All right. Now, receiving students and 8Es. Okay. All right, on the board, I have a fraction. Now, I'd like a volunteer or a student to come up to the front and show the reciprocal of this fraction. Receiving students and 8Es. Right, Eddie, can you come up to the board and show the reciprocal, all right, of that fraction. Receiving students, you can, like I said, you can also go up to the board and show the reciprocal of 2/5. All right, thank you, Eddie. Okay, sorry. Just write the fraction first. Okay, receiving students, do you agree 8Es? You agree with what he has shown on the board, right? You were asked to get the reciprocal of that fraction, 2/5. All right, so what is the reciprocal of 2/5, class? 5/2. What, all right. What has he done with 2/5? What has he done with 2/5? Receiving students? He's changed it, changed the fraction, or, all right, the 5 comes up here. 5 becomes the numerator and 2 becomes the, okay, 2 becomes the denominator and 5 becomes the numerator. So the reciprocal, when you want to get the reciprocal of a number, right, you change, right? Change the number, change the fraction. The denominator becomes the numerator and the numerator becomes the denominator. All right. Okay. All right. The word reciprocal. Okay, class, can you pronounce the word, please? Reciprocal. All right, reciprocal. Okay, the word reciprocal, again, when the fraction is changed, the numerator becomes the denominator, the denominator becomes the numerator. So 5/2. All right, good. So in today's lesson, all right, we are going to be dividing fractions using the reciprocal method. Now, when we divide a fraction by a fraction, receiving students, we use the reciprocal method. Now, we'll look at an example when dividing fractions, but this time we're going to look at using letters, dividing fractions, using letters, all right? Okay, B/A divided by D/C. Right, how do we go about dividing this? Now, I'm sure you've looked at division of fractions last year, did you? Yes? So you know how, I'm sure you already know how to use the reciprocal method. So who can tell the class, how do we go about dividing this? B/A divided by D/C. receiving students? Using the reciprocal method. Come on, class. All right, here we're not using numbers, but we're using letters. Okay, this is an example. So what are we going to do? The next step, what are we going to do? Does anyone know? Okay, you said you looked at division of fractions last year. So this isn't something new to you. Or you forgot? You forgot the method of dividing fractions? Come on, 80s, receiving students, tell the class. What are you going to do? The next step. All right, Estelle?
Rearrange the fractions A over B and C over D.
Okay. Estelle said the two fractions are going to be rearranged. Or they will be, you'll get the reciprocal of the two fractions? 80s, you agree? When you are dividing, all right, the two fractions, you get the reciprocal of the two fractions when you divide. Some of you don't agree. So what should you do? Okay, let's have Diana.
You get the reciprocal for B and A and leave the other fraction.
Okay, good, Diana. All right, Diana said you get the reciprocal of the first fraction, B over A. And you leave the second fraction as it is, D over C. Okay, good, Eddie.
You got the reciprocal of D and C and remain the B and A.
Okay.
And then multiply the numerator and the denominators.
Right, receiving students, did you get that? Thank you, Eddie. You others, do you agree with what Eddie just explained? All right. So this is what you do when you're using the reciprocal method, 80s and receiving students. Right? You were taught this in grade 7, right? Right, when you're using the reciprocal method, the first fraction, B over A, okay, it remains, right? The division sign is changed into a multiplication sign, and you get the reciprocal of the second fraction. So reciprocal meaning it is changed. The numerator becomes a denominator, denominator becomes a numerator. So the second fraction, which is D over C, becomes C over D. So you only change the second fraction, yes? The first fraction remains. Okay, this is when you are using the reciprocal method, 80s and receiving students. Okay? The division sign is changed into a multiplication sign. And then from there you can multiply the numerators and denominators, or you can cross cancel. 80s and receiving students, you understand? Okay. Now let's look at one example, 80s and receiving students together, right? Okay, class, can I have, I'll read. There are 6 mangoes to be shared equally among a group of children. Each child received half of a mango. How many children were given mangoes, receiving students? Quickly in your groups, try to work this one out. All right, this exercise here. Okay, you can discuss your answer. Discuss your working out, okay? All right, go. Okay, good. Anyone got the answer? Not yet. Okay, all right, you discuss how you show your working out. Okay, that's good. And why? Okay, there are 6 mangoes to be shared equally among a group of children, right? 6 mangoes. Each child will receive half of a mango. Okay, so that's 6 mangoes. Out of the 6 mangoes, a child will receive half. Okay, so how many children were given mangoes? Okay, have we got an answer? Yes? Okay, good. You got the answer? Yes? Okay. How did you get your working out? Okay, before that, what did you do? Remember, you are dividing fractions here, okay? And you're using the reciprocal method. All right, receiving students, I'd like you to, if you have finished, you go up to the board and show your working out and explain to the class how you got your answer. All right, 8 is, let's have, we'll have Eddie's group. Eddie, your group, please. Let's have 2 students to come up to the board and show your working out and then explain to the class. Okay, I'd like you others to listen, please.
Okay. We have 6 mangoes. Okay. Each child has a half of a mango. So in a reciprocal, half is 1 becomes the denominator and the 2 becomes the numerator. Okay, and then I multiply 12 students, get the half of the apple. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Eddie. All right, so 80s, receiving students, 6 mangoes, all right, shared equally among a group of children. Now, a child received a half of the share, half of a mango. So, when you divide 6 divided by a half, right, using the reciprocal method, why is it 6/1? Why is it 6/1, receiving students?
Because it is a whole number.
Okay, very good, Alan. All right, 6/1 is equal to 6, yes? Okay, so 6/1 divided by a half. Okay, using the reciprocal method, 6/1, division becomes a multiplication sign, and you get the reciprocal of a half, which is 2/1. So you can either do it this way, 6, multiply the numerators and the denominators to get your answer, 12. So altogether, how many children had their share? 12. Okay. Right, showing the working out, sorry, on the PowerPoint, receiving students. Okay, that's just the same with what we got. Okay. Don't forget, using the formula, you must multiply the numerators. Okay, 6 times 2, the denominators 1 times 1. Okay. All right, 80s and receiving students, please look up here. All right, in a division, okay, a division problem, right, there are terms that we use when we are dividing, okay, when we are dividing numbers, dividing fractions, right. When dividing a fraction by a fraction, we use terms in the operation of division. A half divided by 5/6. A half is the fraction being divided, which is called the dividend. 5/6 is the fraction which we are dividing, which is called the divisor. All right, 80s and receiving students. Using the reciprocal method, half divided by 5/6. How do we go about this, class? Half divided by 5/6. Who can come up to the board, please, and give us the working out here? Half divided by 5/6. Anyone? All right. Let's have, okay, Rosen, please come up to the board. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Roseanne. Can you explain? Explain your working out, please.
Half times 6/5 equals u times the 1 times 6 and 2 times 5. You'll get 6/10, and then you simplify and get 3/5.
Okay, thank you, Roseanne. All right, you others agree with her explanation? Okay, half divided by 5/6. Right, using the reciprocal method, half division, okay, division changes into a multiplication sign, times, get the reciprocal of this fraction, 5/6. All right, so what you do is you go ahead, you multiply the numerators and the denominators. So 1 times 6, 2 times 5. And then you have 6/10. Now you can simplify, all right? Simplify. Let's say divide into which number? 3, yeah? 3? 3 or 2? 2, okay? Because 3 cannot go into 10 evenly. So 2 into 6 is 3. 2 into 10 goes 5. So your answer is 3/5. Okay, so 80s and receiving students, now I'd like you to go on to your activity. I'd like you to do these 3 activities into your exercise books, okay? Receiving students, these 3 activities, copy them down and then start working on them, okay? Using the reciprocal method, you divide those fractions, right? Do you understand what you're going to do? All right. Okay, you can discuss your working out with your friends, okay? If you're not sure, please, you ask your friend or you ask it. Okay, make sure you show your working out neatly, right? Using the reciprocal method.
12. This is dividend.
12 is the dividend.
This is divisor.
Yeah. Like this time, I wanted to put it like this. The number we are dividing, this is the divisor,
Yes, yes.
this is the dividend. There.
You see.
Okay, I'll just explain.
So once you yeah,
Yeah, one minute.
but this is already written. So later.
All right, have we finished? Okay. Who hasn't finished yet? Okay, we'll just correct the first one. The first problem, 8 over 9 divided by 72, okay? Receiving students. And you can complete that. If you haven't finished, you can complete that for your homework. Okay, Diana, have you finished? Okay, please. Okay, thank you, Diana. All right. 80s, did you get the same answer as what she got? Okay. Receiving students in 80s. So that brings us to the end of our lesson, class. Remember, when you are dividing fractions, what type of method do we use? Reciprocal method. Okay. All right, our keyword for today's lesson is reciprocal. Thank you, 8Es and receiving students, for participating in today's lesson. Welcome.